welcome to the deep dive. Today we're embarking on a really fascinating journey to Montenegro. Now, most of us picture its dramatic mountains, maybe that stunning coastline, but hidden within all that rugged beauty is this rich, ancient secret, its incredible wine heritage. Our mission for you today is to uncover the surprising facts, the unique qualities of Montenegrin wines. We'll trace their, millennia-old origins right up to their modern resurgence. So get ready to explore a viticultural region with a history that, honestly, defies the odds. It boasts a unique terroir and some really emblematic grape varieties that are just starting to get noticed internationally.
That's absolutely right. When you think Montenegro, yeah, fjords, limestone karsts, that's probably it. But this small Balkan nation, it holds this unbroken winemaking tradition that's just captivating. We're going to dive into how its rich history, from ancient Illyrian tribes through the Romans all the way to that complex Yugoslavian era, how that's profoundly shaped its wines. And we'll unpack the incredible interplay of the sea, the mountains, and the lakes that really defines its unique terroir. And of course, we'll spend some quality time with its most emblematic grapes, Vranac and Krstač.
Okay, so let's kick things off right there with that incredible history. It's truly remarkable, isn't it, that the origins go back to the ancient Illyrian tribes. They were cultivating vines long before the Romans even arrived.
Exactly. The Romans then certainly came in, expanded, improved the techniques, sure. But what's particularly interesting is how those Eastern influences, like the Byzantine Empire, kept wine so central, especially for religious ceremonies.
Right. That must have helped ensure its survival through some really difficult times, didn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely. And what's fascinating is how that knowledge got passed down. During the Middle Ages, through centuries of political instability, it was the monasteries, the Orthodox Church. Places like Ostrog, Cetinje, Moracha, they basically became the guardians of the vines and the winemaking knowledge.
Like living museums, almost.
Pretty much, yeah. Preserving indigenous grape varieties that might otherwise have just vanished. It wasn't just faith. It was critical for keeping the whole agricultural practice alive.
And after all that careful preservation, then came the Ottoman era, which brought its own challenges, right? Especially with restrictions on alcohol.
Big challenges. Yet despite those odds, wine production persisted.
It's highlighted that there was almost this peculiar renaissance during this time.
Well, yeah, because the tougher local varieties were the ones that survived. It kind of strengthened their genetic pool through natural selection because, frankly, they had to.
Wow. A testament to the resilience of the vines and the people, too, who just stubbornly kept tending them.
It really is a story of endurance. And if you fast forward, the Yugoslavian period then brought this massive centralized shift.
Okay.
That's when Plantage 13 Yule was established back in 1959. And crucially, that's when the immense Imovsko Polje was developed. We're talking the largest single parcel vineyard in all of Europe.
Seriously, how big?
Over 2,300 hectares. Just massive. And the focus shifted completely to large-scale Vranac production, mainly for export.
Right, cementing it as the national good. That must have been a complete game changer.
Absolutely.
And then, post-independence, 2006, Montenegrin viticulture found itself navigating a whole new landscape, new challenges, new opportunities.
Exactly. The big task was modernization, figuring out international marketing, and, really improving the perception of quality to compete globally.
But here's where it gets really interesting, I think.
Yeah.
Alongside the giant state-owned Plantage, we saw this vibrant resurgence of small family-owned producers, bringing back that intimate focus on a high-quality, unique terroir wines.
It's a beautiful blend, isn't it? Respecting the past while looking firmly to the future. A real dynamic happening there.
All right, let's talk about the land itself then. The terroir of Montenegro is, it's truly unique. This geographical harmony shaped by mountains, lakes, and the sea.
It really is.
So you've got the Adriatic Sea, giving it mild, humid winters, hot, dry summers, and those crucial sea breezes. They moderate temperatures, right? And even help prevent fungal diseases.
Precisely. And then you've got the towering Dinaric Alps. They act as this natural barrier against cold winds from the north. And critically, they create significant diurnal temperature variations, big swings between day and night temps.
Okay, what does that kind of daily temperature swing actually do for the grapes?
Great question. It's actually critical for wine quality. Those big swings are absolutely crucial for developing complex aromas in the grapes. And for retaining their vibrant acidity, you need both for great wine.
Makes sense.
And let's not forget Lake Skadar, largest lake in the Balkans, stunning place. But it's not just pretty. It further moderates temperatures, provides essential humidity, promotes vital air circulation around the vines, And it helps foster those rich, fertile alluvial soils nearby. It's like this perfect storm of beneficial influences all working together.
Wow. And the soils themselves are this complex geological tapestry you mentioned, each contributing something distinct. We're
Total.
talking widespread limestone on those steep slopes, which, because it drains well and its light color reflects sunlight, that gives wines minerality, freshness, acidity.
Exactly that. Pronounced minerality, beautiful freshness, vibrant acidity, and this elegant structure. Limestone is key.
Then there's schist, found in specific rock formations.
Yep. Schist retains heat and releases it slowly, which helps grapes ripen, especially in maybe cooler spots. It contributes a subtle minerality too, maybe some intriguing earthy or graphite notes. Gives the wine a fine, silky texture.
Okay, limestone, schist.
What else? Well, down in the plains and river valleys, like the famous imparts,
The big one.
right. You find those deep, rich, alluvial soils packed with organic matter, great water retention. They lead to vigorous vines, often producing more full-bodied, fruity wines, intense, ripe fruit aromas, softer texture usually.
And one more. Terra rossa.
Ah, yes, terra rossa. That distinctive red clay soil high in iron oxide. You find it particularly in coastal areas. This soil gives deep color to reds, firm tannins, good acidity, and these lovely notes of ripe red fruits and spices. Each soil type truly leaves its mark.
So with all that diversity, let's pinpoint some key wine regions. First up has to be Kremnica, right? The historical heartland, birthplace of Vrenac.
Absolutely. The undisputed birthplace. Its proximity to Lake Skadar moderates things, and you've got mostly limestone and alluvial soils. It produces this full-bodied, complex Vrenac. Think dark fruit, sweet spice, robust tannins, wines that are just excellent for aging. You can genuinely taste the deep-rooted family tradition there.
Real authentic character.
Totally. Then, quite a contrast, you have Boka Kotorska, the Bay of Kotor. UNESCO site. Stunning. Tiny coastal vineyards clinging to rocky slopes. Mediterranean climate, constant sea breeze. It really favors fresh, light, aromatic whites.
Like Christach.
Especially Christach, yeah. Known for its vibrant acidity, citrus, floral notes, even a subtle saline touch.
And then the big player, Plantage and the Movsko Valley. That's the modern large-scale production.
That's the one. Home to Plantage 13, Oul and that massive 2,310-hectare vineyard. More continental climate, alluvial and gravel soils. The focus there is primarily large-scale Vrenac, but they're increasingly investing in, precision viticulture and more premium labels.
Interesting. Are there other potential areas popping up?
There are. People are looking at central and northern regions, higher altitudes, different soils. Definite potential for cooler climate varieties and future exploration. It's still evolving.
It's just incredible how the vines themselves have adapted to this landscape. It sounds so challenging.
It is. They've developed this remarkable resilience, sending roots deep down into rocky soils to find water and nutrients.
And the growers have specific ways of training them.
Yeah, adapting pruning and training systems to maximize sun exposure where needed, or sometimes to protect the grapes from excessive heat. It's like viticulture is survival art woven into the place.
Okay, now let's talk about the undisputed stars.
Yeah.
The grapes. Vrenac is the black jewel of Montenegro, you said.
Absolutely. The most important red grape, a national symbol. The name literally means black stallion.
Because it's so dark and vigorous.
Exactly. Deep, dark color, vigorous growth. It's widespread across the Balkans, but really finds its home here.
And here's something truly fascinating I read. That recent discovery of its genetic link to Zinfandel, or Primitivo.
Isn't that wild? It connects it to some of the most ancient Adriatic vine lineages. Puts Vrenac in this much broader ancient context.
So cool. What's the grape itself like, ampelographically speaking?
Well, visually, it's a powerhouse. Vigorous growth, large, pretty compact bunches, and crucially thick, deep, blue-black skins.
Which give color and tannins, right?
Right. Protection, too, but loads of color and tannin potential. It's remarkably resistant to water scarcity, loves less fertile soils, perfect for Montenegro. The slight catch is its late ripening cycle. Growers need careful management to get it perfectly ripe before any bad weather hits.
Okay, so the moment of truth. We pour a glass of Vrenac. What can we expect? Take us to it.
Well, it's quite a journey from youth to age. A young Vrenac. Deep ruby red, often with these vibrant violet hints.
And the smell.
Aromatically, it just bursts with intense dark fruits. Think blackberry, black cherry, maybe some dried plum. Underneath, you get black pepper, maybe clove, a touch of licorice.
And on the palate.
Full-bodied, definitely full-bodied. Firm, robust tannins, especially when young, but they soften beautifully with age. Good medium to high acidity, keeping it fresh, and pretty high alcohol, usually 13, 14, even 15%.
Wow. Okay, so that's young Vernac. What happens when it gets some age? We see some oak.
Then it transforms. The color deepens, moves towards garnet, even brick red over time. And the bouquet becomes much more complex. You start getting layers. Vanilla, dark chocolate, roasted coffee, tobacco, maybe some leather, earthy undertones, even a hint of smoke from the oak.
Sounds incredible.
It really develops. The palate mirrors those complex aromas. The tannins become more polished, smoother, but still present. And its aging potential is truly remarkable.
How long are we talking?
Easily 5 to 15 years, even longer for the really top quality Vranac. It just becomes incredibly complex and harmonious.
And you mentioned terroir expression. It tastes different depending on where it's grown.
Absolutely. A Vranac from Krumnica might feel more, say, rustic and potent, really intense, whereas one from Imovska Polje with more controlled viticulture might be more elegant, maybe slightly restrained. It really tells the story of its origin.
Fascinating. Okay, moving to the white jewel, Christach. This name means cross.
That's right, because of its unique bunch shape, supposedly resembling a cross.
And it's pretty much only grown in Montenegro.
Almost exclusively. It's a true national amphilographic treasure, and it absolutely thrives in those arid, stony soils and that unique Mediterranean continental climate we talked about.
So what's its sensory profile like? Is it as bold as Vramic?
No, quite the opposite, actually. It's much more about elegance and subtlety. It pours this luminous straw yellow, often with subtle green reflections. Very pretty.
And the aromas.
Delicate, subtle but distinct. You get vibrant citrus notes, lemon, grapefruit, along with white fruits like pear, maybe green apple. Elegant floral notes, too, like lemon blossom or jasmine. But what really sets it apart, its signature, is this pronounced minerality.
Minerality, like what?
Think whetstone, chalk.
Yeah.
Sometimes even a refreshing, subtle saline note, like a sea breeze caught in the glass.
Wow, and tasting it.
Vibrant, refreshing acidity is the first thing you notice. It's got a light to medium body, a really crisp, elegant texture on the palate, and the finish is typically dry, carrying that persistent minerality through.
How is it usually made? Oak, steel.
Almost exclusively in stainless steel. The goal is to preserve that purity, that freshness, those delicate aromas and minerality. It's usually meant for youthful consumption, though some top vintages might evolve a bit.
So beyond Vranac and Christach, are there other, like, hidden gems? Other local grapes?
There are a few, yeah. They're much rarer, but important for biodiversity and history. There's Ishak, a white with delicate aromas. Lisicina, another local white, known for more intense floral notes. And interestingly, Sinsat, which you find elsewhere, is locally known as Singout. It's been there so long, it's considered almost autochthonous. Makes lighter, fruity reds.
Just shows the depth of history there. Loads of genetic value in those lesser-known grapes. Perfect for boutique producers, maybe?
Exactly, offering something truly unique. But this raises that important question for Montenegro's wine future, doesn't it?
Which is?
How does this rich indigenous heritage, Vranac, Christach, these others, how does it coexist with global market demands? It's a strategic challenge.
Because people want familiar international grapes, too.
Right. So winemakers are cleverly including renowned international grapes, Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, sometimes Syrah or Sangiovese experiments too. Often they're used in blends, maybe Cabernet or Merlot blended with Vranac to add a different kind of complexity, or perhaps to soften Vranac's robust tannins slightly for certain markets.
So it's a balancing act.
It's a crucial dilemma, finding that smart, balanced integration that complements rather than dilutes Montenegro's unique identity. Finding that sweet spot is key.
Right. Let's delve into the actual practices then. In the vineyard itself, how do they manage things? You see different training systems.
You do. It's a fascinating blend of tradition and modernity. You'll still find traditional goblet or bush training, especially in those dry climates and on really challenging steep terrains.
What's the advantage of that?
Well, it offers natural shading for the grapes, encourages deep roots to seat water, but it's really difficult to mechanize. Lots of manual work.
Okay. And the modern approach?
That's usually espalier systems, particularly VSP vertical shoot positioning. Used by larger producers like Planturge, it gives optimal sun exposure, better air circulation, and makes mechanization far easier.
And pruning must be important, especially for vigorous grapes like Vranac.
Absolutely crucial. Careful pruning, maybe guyot or spur pruning, and canopy management are key for controlling that vigor and the yield. And you're seeing more and more green pruning, removing excess shoots, and bunch thinning, removing some grape clusters, especially for premium wines. It focuses the vine's energy on fewer, better grapes.
Makes sense. What about harvesting? Mostly by hand.
It's still very prevalent, especially in those traditional, steep, often fragmented vineyards. Manual harvesting allows for incredibly meticulous grape selection, which is vital for top-tier wines. Though, of course, on a massive scale like Planturge, you'll see a mix. Both manual picking for specific high-end parcels and mechanized harvesting where it's feasible and appropriate for the wine style.
And sustainability. Is that becoming a focus in Montenegrin vineyards?
It's becoming a crucial pillar, definitely, driven partly by global concern, but also, interestingly, by a deep respect for traditional, often inherently sustainable practices.
So what does responsible agriculture look like there?
It means things like rigorous minimization of agrochemicals, using integrated pest management, maybe biological controls instead of just spraying everything. Essential soil and water conservation is huge, too. Things like contour planting on slopes to prevent erosion, using cover crops between rows to improve soil health, and efficient drip irrigation where needed.
Keeping the land healthy for the long term.
Exactly. They're also actively promoting biodiversity ecological corridors, native vegetation around vineyards, and continuously pursuing energy efficiency, using modern equipment, maybe exploring renewable energy.
It's not just about being green, is it? It's a selling point now.
Increasingly so. It's a competitive differentiator. It attracts conscious consumers and genuinely strengthens Montenegro's image on the world stage. It's smart business as well as good stewardship.
Okay, let's move from the vineyard to the winery. The winemaking techniques. For reds, especially Vanac, maceration sounds absolutely crucial.
Oh, it is. That's when the grape skins sit with the juice. It's where you extract the color, the tannins, those deep aromas that define Vranac.
And they can control the outcome.
Massively. The duration is key. Maybe 2 or 3 weeks for a really full-bodied, age-worthy wine, shorter for a lighter, fruitier style you want to drink sooner. And the techniques during maceration matter too, like remontage, pumping the juice over the cap of skins, or pitchage, physically punching down that cap. Both help extract compounds differently, influencing the final style.
Amazing how much control they have. What about fermentation?
Mostly done in temperature-controlled stainless steel tanks these days. It's hygienic, preserves those pure fruit aromas really well, though you'll still find some traditional methods for the really premium Vranac, maybe open oak barrels or even old stone or wood lagars for fermentation. Adds a different character.
And yeast. Wild or cultured?
A mix. Some producers prefer selected yeast for consistency. Others like using the indigenous yeast from the vineyard for potentially more unique character.
And oak aging. We touched on that. What kinds of oak?
Right. Oak is widely used for adding complexity, structure, and aging potential to Vranac. Traditionally, Slavonian oak, often in large barrels, was common. It gives a slower, more subtle influence. But French and American oak are gaining popularity, especially smaller barrels, which impart more noticeable notes of vanilla, spice, toast. Some even use Hungarian oak like gunk barrels.
Lots of options.
Yeah.
And the aging process.
It often involves malolactic fermentation, a secondary fermentation that converts sharp malic acid to softer lactic acid, making the wine rounder. Young, fresh styles might just age in stainless steel for a bit, but reserves and premium Vranac will spend time in oak anywhere from 6 months to over 2 years, followed by crucial bottle aging to let everything integrate and reach its peak expression.
Okay, what about the white wines? Crissac, Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc. How do they handle those? Is it a different philosophy?
Definitely. For whites, it's generally all about preserving freshness, purity, and those delicate aromatics.
So, gentle handling.
Very gentle, quick pressing is key. Minimize skin contact, minimize oxidation. Then you let the juice settle decantation to get clear must before fermentation.
And fermentation, still steel.
Predominantly in temperature-controlled stainless steel, yes. And usually at cooler temperatures than reds, maybe around 14, 18 degrees Celsius. That's ideal for preserving those fresh, fruity, floral aromas. Select yeasts are quite common here for consistency.
Does oak play a role with whites at all?
It's strategic. Crissac, as we said, generally avoids oak entirely to keep that distinctive minerality and freshness front and center. But Chardonnay, which takes well to oak, might be fermented or aged in barrels to add complexity, body, maybe some creamy notes. Sauvignon Blanc, though, is almost always kept in stainless steel to maintain its vibrant, zesty, aromatic profile. Oak would overwhelm it.
And after fermentation, any special aging?
Cristat and Sauvignon Blanc often get some aging in stainless steel sur-lie.
On the lees, the spent yeast cells.
Exactly. Sometimes with battage stirring those lees up, it can add texture, a bit of richness, complexity without using oak. Oak-aged Chardonnays, of course, would continue their aging in the barrels.
Listening to all this, the crucial role of the enterologist, the winemaker, really stands out. They're not just following recipes, are they?
Not at all. They're like the artistic architects, as you said earlier. They need this deep understanding of the climate, the soil, the specific vintage to adapt, to make crucial decisions like exactly when to harvest, balancing ripeness and acidity for a powerful Vranac, or meticulously preserving the delicate aromas for Cristage. Those are key calls.
And ensuring authenticity.
Absolutely vital, preserving and even enhancing the unique characteristics that make Vranac, its color, its tannins, and Cristage Crested, its delicate nose, its refreshing acidity. That's the goal. Plus, rigorous quality control is paramount, overseeing every single step from the moment grapes arrive to the final bottling. Constant monitoring, lab analyses, preventing any faults.
And they're innovating too.
Definitely. They're the engine of innovation and experimentation. Introducing new techniques, maybe using amphora, different baton regimes, crafting creative blends, exploring entirely new styles for Montenegro.
So ultimately, their role is about defining that identity.
Exactly, defining a clear, consistent identity for Montenegrin wines in the global market, building a lasting legacy that really speaks to the spirit of the place, the grapes, the terroir. It's a huge responsibility.
Right. Now, for the moment we've all been waiting for, appreciating the wines. Let's really delve into the sensory experience. Vranac first. Say you've got a young, fruit-forward Vranac, maybe just stainless steel. What's it like?
Okay. You'll see this intense ruby color, probably with vibrant violet reflections, especially around the rim.
And on the nose?
It's bursting with fresh red and dark fruits. Cherry, raspberry, maybe blackberry, plum, often a delicate violet floral note, maybe a hint of black pepper. It's very upfront and fruity.
And tasting it.
Fresh, vibrant acidity hits you first, then those soft, fruity tannins. It's got a medium body, feels quite lively in the mouth, and finishes clean and refreshing. It's a really appealing immediate style.
Okay, now contrast that with an oak-aged Vranac. More complex, structured, you said.
Completely different journey. The color is deeper ruby, likely evolving towards garnet or even brick red if it has significant age.
And the smell must be way more complex.
Oh, absolutely. The bouquet is incredibly layered. You still get ripe dark fruits, black cherry, dried plum, blackberry compote, but interwoven with notes from the oaken age. Vanilla, dark chocolate, roasted coffee, maybe tobacco, cedar wood, sweet spices like cinnamon or clove. Often earthy or leathery notes develop too, maybe even a hint of smoke. It's a lot to explore.
And on the palate, still full-bodied.
Still full-bodied, definitely. But the tannins, while firm, should feel more polished, integrated, silky even, thanks to the aging. The acidity is still there, providing balance, and that characteristic high alcohol, 13–15%, gives it weight.
And the finish.
Long, sophisticated, echoing all those complex flavors. And remember, the premium and reserve styles, often from older vines, lower yields, specific parcels, they represent the apex of Vranac. Capable of remarkable aging, easily 5 to 15 years, sometimes more, they truly evolve into something magnificent over time.
Wow. Okay, let's switch gears to the elegance of Cristat. What should we look for there?
Cristat is all about purity, finesse, and refreshment. Visually, it's that luminous straw yellow, maybe with subtle green glints.
And the aromas. Delicate, you said?
Fine, elegant, and vibrant. You get classic citrus Sicilian lemon, maybe lime, bright white fruits like nashi pear or green apple, and those beautiful floral whispers, orange blossom, jasmine. But its real signature, again, is that distinctive minerality. Chalk, wet stone, that subtle, refreshing, saline breeze character.
Intriguing. And the taste.
Lively, bracing, refreshing acidity is key. It has a light to medium body, feels crisp and elegant on the palate. The finish is dry and clean, and that minerality just persists. It's incredibly refreshing.
A real taste of Montenegro, then.
Yeah.
Beyond these two stars, what other styles might we find? You mentioned rosés.
Yes, you'll find some lovely rosés, predominantly made from Vranac, actually, usually dry in style.
What do they look like, taste like?
Vibrant pink hues, anywhere from pale cherry to a deeper orange tinge sometimes. Aromas are typically fresh red fruits, strawberry, raspberry, cherry, maybe some floral notes. Light to medium body, refreshing acidity, perfect summer wines.
Any bubbles?
Sparkling wines are definitely emerging, mainly Chardonnay-based, using either the traditional method like champagne or the Charmat method. A few brave producers are even experimenting with sparkling Vranac or Christach, which sounds fascinating. They're generally festive, refreshing style.
And sweet wines.
Less common, but yes. Small-scale production, usually from Vranac, either using late-harvest grapes left to ripen longer, or sometimes the appassimento method, drying the grapes after harvest to concentrate sugars. These yield rich, sweet, intense wines. Think notes of dried fruits like plum, fig, date, maybe spices like cinnamon and clove, chocolate or caramel notes. Real dessert treats.
Okay, loads to try. To really appreciate them, any serving tips? Let's start with young Vranac.
Right. For young, fruity Vranac, serve it slightly cool, maybe 16, 18 degrees C, that's 61, 64 degrees Arifia. Use a medium-bowled red wine glass. A brief aeration, maybe just swirling in the glass, can help release its aromas and soften those vibrant tannins a little.
And food pairing for that.
Think medium-intensity dishes. Pasta with tomato sauce, pizza, grilled white meats like chicken or pork, maybe some mild cheeses. Nothing too overpowering.
Okay, now the aged, complex Vranac. How do we treat that?
That needs a bit more care to show its best. Serve it warmer, say 18, 20 degrees C, 64, 68 degrees Fahrenheit, and definitely use a large, bold red wine glass to allow the aromas to gather.
Decanting necessary.
Highly recommended, yes. Decant it for maybe 30 to 60 minutes, partly to separate any sediment that might have formed, but mainly to allow controlled oxygenation. It really helps open up that complex bouquet.
And food for aged Vranac. Richer stuff.
Exactly. This is your go-to for rich, structured dishes. Roasted or grilled red meats, beef, lamb especially, game dishes, mushroom risottos or stews, aged hard cheeses, even dishes with some spice work well.
Got it. Now, Christoph, how to serve that elegant white?
Keep it well chilled. 8-10 degrees Celsius, 46-50 degrees Varies is ideal. Serve it in a medium-bodied white wine glass. And avoid excessive aeration. You want to preserve those delicate aromas and that freshness. Just pour and enjoy.
Perfect as an aperitif.
Excellent as an aperitif. Also brilliant with seafood, grilled fish, shellfish, fresh salads, especially with citrusy dressings. Goat cheese is a classic pairing too. Think light, fresh Mediterranean cuisine.
And the rosés and sparkling wines. Colder?
Definitely colder. Serve them well chilled, 6-8 degrees C, 43-46 degrees Fahrenheit. Rosés are lovely in a standard white wine glass. Sparkling wines, ideally in a flute to preserve the bubbles.
Nice and cold.
Yeah, keep the bottle in an ice bucket once open. Rizzis are fantastic with appetizers, salads, light pasta dishes, seafood, even some lightly spiced Asian cuisine. Sparkling wines are great with canapes, fresh cheeses, fruits, or light desserts.
Okay, perfect. Now, let's talk food pairing more broadly. Because Montenegro's cuisine sounds as rich and diverse as its wines. What's it typically like?
It really is a fantastic blend. You've got those coastal Mediterranean influences, loads of fresh Adriatic seafood, olive oil, herbs, and then the robust inland Balkan traditions, hearty meats like lamb, pork, beef, often slow roasted or grilled, delicious fresh and aged cheeses, often sheep or boat, and freshwater fish from Lake Skadar too.
Simple cooking.
It's generally simple but incredibly flavorful cooking methods. Slow roasting, grilling over coals, simple stews, using great seasonal vegetables and aromatic herbs. It's honest, satisfying food.
This is where the magic happens, you said. Pairing Vranac with Montenegrin dishes. Give us some examples.
Okay, classic pairings. Njugushi Prot, their famous cured ham, and Njugushi Sir, a local smoked cheese. A young Vranac, with its freshness, cuts through the richness beautifully. Or an aged Vranac can mirror the complexity and depth of the cured ham. Both work.
What about grilled meats?
Oh, absolutely. A vapi, those little grilled sausages, or bleszczkowika, the Balkan burger patty. Vranac is a classic pairing. Its structure, those black pepper and spice notes, just harmonize perfectly with the smoky char.
Are those slow-cooked meats? Like roasted lamb?
Janjep perenge, the roasted lamb, or meats cooked under a such that metal dome covered in coals. For these rich, tender, smoky dishes, an aged, oak-matured Vranac is sublime. Its silky tannins, dark fruit, sweet spice notes just create this profound harmony. Same for something like pashaketa, a rich beef stew. A fuller-bodied, aged Vranac matches its complexity and intensity perfectly.
Mouth-watering. And for the white wines, Christach with those aquatic treasures.
Christach truly shines here. Think Lake Skadar fish like crap, the carp, or uklijeva, a local lake sardine often fried. Christach's refreshing acidity cuts through any richness beautifully, and its citrus and mineral notes almost echo the freshwater environment. It's a natural fit.
And Adriatic seafood?
Absolutely. Grilled octopus, squid, shrimp, clams. Kristat's minerality is a perfect complement to the natural salinity and sweetness of the seafood, whether it's simply grilled, steamed, or in a light risotto.
Does Christach work with anything beyond seafood?
Oh, yes. It's lovely with fresh goat or sheep cheeses and light green salads, especially those with citrus or balsamic dressings that echo its acidity.
So the golden rule of pairing here.
It's pretty simple but powerful. Match the wine's intensity and freshness with the richness and flavors of the local dishes. Get that balance right, and you create these authentic, truly memorable gastronomic experiences that are uniquely Montenegrin.
Okay, so how are these unique Montenegrin wines doing out there in the big wide world, in the international market?
Well, historically, the export focus was very much on the former Yugoslav republics and the Eastern Bloc countries. That was the traditional market. But now there's definitely a modest but certainly growing expansion. You're starting to see Montenegrin wines, especially Vrnak, popping up in the EU, the USA, Canada, even parts of Asia.
What's the strategy? How are they getting noticed?
The main strategy seems to be promoting Vrnak as this distinct, unique Balkan product, leveraging its history, its specific character. They're doing this through participating in international wine fairs, using digital marketing, and slowly building those crucial distribution networks step by step. It takes time.
And the key producer is still Plantaže.
Without a doubt. Plantage 13, Bol, with that immense Amovsko Polje vineyard, remains central to Montenegrin wine production. They're the giant. Their Vrnak Procord is probably the most widely recognizable label. It offers a good balance of quality and accessibility. Fruity, medium-bodied, easy to find.
And they have higher tiers.
Yes. Their Vrnak Reserve offers a more premium experience, longer oak aging, more complexity, softer tannins, definite aging potential. And then there's Vladika, which is one of their more contemporary blends, Vrnak, mixed with international red varieties, aiming for a complex profile that might appeal to broader global palates.
And Christi is still important for them.
Absolutely. They champion Kristach as that unique indigenous white, known for its refreshing acidity and minerality, especially the ones highlighting the Krumnica region influence. And Plantage continues to invest heavily in modernization, R&D, constantly pushing for higher quality and better varietal expression across their range.
But beyond the giant, what I find really captivating is that dynamic growth you mentioned in small family-owned producers.
Yeah.
Especially in Krupnica.
Yes. That's where a lot of the excitement is happening on a smaller scale. Wineries like Lipovac, Mercan, Kuptovic, Book. There are many others, too. They're often focusing on really artisanal, sometimes more rustic and traditional styles of Vrnak, maybe exploring specific single vineyards. And some are even working hard to revitalize those lesser-known indigenous varieties we touched on, offering something truly different.
How do these smaller guys get their wines noticed? It must be tough competing with Plantage.
It is tough. They often rely heavily on word of mouth, direct sales from the winery, and increasingly on the growing trend of enotourism.
Enotourism. Wine tourism must be becoming a big deal there.
It's becoming an absolutely strategic pillar for Montenegro. They're actively developing wine routes that beautifully combine the stunning natural beauty with the local wine culture.
Where would these routes take you?
Think tours through the Krumnica region, around Lake Skadar, visits to the massive Plantage estate. These experiences often include stops at historical monasteries, maybe boat trips on the lake, exploring the incredible Bay of Kodor coastline.
And you can visit the wineries.
Definitely. Wineries, both large and small, offer guided tours, cellar visits, and of course tastings. Plantage even has these cool train tours that take you through parts of their vast vineyards. Smaller producers, naturally, provide more intimate, personalized experiences. You might meet the family, walk the vineyards with the winemaker.
So enotourism is more than just tourism, it's marketing.
It's a vital marketing tool. It deepens visitors' appreciation for Montenegrin wines right there, in their terroir. You connect with the place, the people, the story. It turns visitors into enthusiastic ambassadors when they go home. And that ultimately boosts international recognition and helps drive sustainable growth for the whole sector.
It sounds promising, but it can't all be smooth sailing. What are the main challenges facing Montenegrin viticulture?
There are definitely challenges. Climate change is a big one for sure. They're vulnerable to extreme heat, drought, grapes ripening too early maybe. This means they need to focus on efficient water management, perhaps finding more drought-resistant vine clones, and maybe exploring those higher altitude vineyards for future growth.
And competing globally.
Global competition is fierce. Montenegro needs consistent quality across the board and really well-defined marketing strategies to stand out. They need to keep leveraging their unique identity, Vrnak, Christach, the terroir, participating in international events, getting reviews, and offering that authentic eno-tourism experience are all crucial.
What about rules and regulations? Are they up to international standards?
That's another area. Standardization and regulation are imperative for quality assurance and making export easier. There's probably a need to strengthen viticultural regulations, maybe implement an internationally recognized geographical indication (GI) system, similar to the models in the EU. Standardizing practices, rigorous certification, it all helps build confidence.
And investment.
Continuous investment in technology and training is crucial for ongoing modernization, improving efficiency in both the vineyard and winery, elevating overall quality, and fostering innovation through education and R&D.
So looking ahead, what are the perspectives for the future? Where is Montenegrin wine heading?
Well, the focus seems to be on several key areas. Innovation is one, continuing to explore creative blends, like Vranac with international grapes, but also pushing boundaries with new styles, premium rosés, those sparkling wines we mentioned, but uncovering untapped micro-terroirs.
And sustainability remains key.
Hugely important. Embracing organic, biodynamic, and other responsible practices is vital for preserving resources, but also for appealing to that growing segment of green wine consumers, maybe seeking official certifications to back it up.
And finally, hammering home that unique identity.
Absolutely. Reinforcing the unique story and quality of Vranac and Krista, emphasizing their distinct profiles, their connection to the specific terroir, and using eno-tourism as that key promotional tool, really connecting consumers directly with the local culture, the history, and that stunning landscape. It's about selling the whole experience.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it's worth taking a moment, isn't it, to reflect on Montenegro, this small country, maybe often overshadowed by its, undeniably dramatic landscapes. It has managed to not only preserve, but truly revitalize such a profound viticultural heritage. It's quite incredible.
It really is.
Its unique blend of ancient tradition, those incredibly resilient native grapes like Vranac and Christach, and its adaptation to a challenging yet profoundly rewarding terroir. It truly makes its wines a pearl of the Balkans. Absolutely deserving of your deeper dive, and, well, definitely worth seeking out for a taste. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What might these resilient vines, clinging to those rocky slopes, tell us about the spirit of the place itself and the people who've tended them for centuries? Something to think about.